Share less, protect more, because not everything is meant for everyone. That single truth can change the way you live your life, starting today. Too often, people lose respect, opportunities, and even close relationships, not because of what they did wrong, but because of what they revealed to the wrong person. The harsh reality is this: when you open up about your income, your doubts, your family arguments, your relationship details, or your insecurities, people don't always respond with care. Many respond with envy, gossip, and judgment. This video is not about fear, it's about wisdom. It's about understanding human behavior in real life. People remember your weaknesses longer than your strengths, and once they know your private matters, they rarely forget. That's why you must learn the discipline of privacy. In this session, I will break down 5 personal things you should never share with anyone. If you truly want to protect your peace, your image, and your future, then pay close attention, because this will be one of the most important lessons you ever hear. Number 1, stop telling people your income, because envy destroys friendships. If you go around telling people how much money you make, you are already building walls between yourself and the people around you. Human beings respond strongly to numbers when it comes to money. The moment they hear how much you earn, they start calculating. They measure themselves against you. They compare their efforts to yours. They ask themselves why they don't have the same results. That comparison does not bring them closer to you. It pulls them away. It grows into silent judgment, quiet resentment, and sometimes open envy. That envy does not create stronger friendships. It weakens them. When you speak about your income openly, you assume people will celebrate with you. You think they will admire you for your progress, but many will not. Most will hear your number and instantly feel smaller or cheated. That reaction is human nature. It doesn't mean people are bad, but envy is real. You give people a reason to see you differently. Even those who once liked you for your character may start liking you only for what you earn, or disliking you for the same reason. That shift changes the quality of your relationships in ways you cannot control. What you should protect most in life is your peace and your trust in the people closest to you. Money discussions can poison that peace quickly. The neighbor you used to enjoy talking with now sees you as competition. The cousin you once laughed with now sees you as a problem. The friend who used to call you every week now keeps their distance. Not because you changed, but because the information you gave them changed how they see you. If you protect that information, you protect the natural flow of those relationships. Now think about this. What is the purpose of telling people your income? Many people share it because they want to impress. They want others to know they are doing well. They want acknowledgement. But if acknowledgement comes at the price of losing respect or trust, is it worth it? Recognition that damages connection is not recognition worth having. If you want admiration, earn it with your discipline, your kindness, your reliability, your values. These qualities make people truly respect you. Money is only a number. It does not carry the meaning you hope it will carry. When you speak it out loud, there is another danger. Once people know your income, they start expecting things from you. If you earn more, they assume you should pay more. You take your family to dinner, suddenly the bill slides towards you. You show up at a gathering, suddenly you are expected to contribute more than others. Without saying a word, you are placed in a different category, and that category often feels heavy. It robs you of fairness. Instead of being valued equally, you are valued conditionally, not for who you are, but for what you can provide. And here is the hard truth. When people envy you, they rarely admit it. They will not walk up and say, "I feel jealous of your income." They will show it in subtle ways. Fewer raves, less warmth in their tone, a shift in the way they respond to your success. You sense it in the silence, in the small comments, in the lack of genuine support. That silence is painful, because it makes you question your own openness. You replay the moment you shared your income, and realize you gave them a weapon without knowing it. So the wise choice is silence. Keep that information to yourself. You do not owe anyone the details of your salary, your business earnings, or your investment. The only people who should know are those who absolutely need to. Your partner, your aunt, your financial advisor. Outside of that, you are not protecting money by staying quiet. You are protecting relationships. You are protecting yourself from judgment you never asked for. Now, some people will say, "But Jim, I want to inspire others by showing them what I earn." Inspiration doesn't come from the number in your account. It's from the habits, the choices, and the sacrifices behind that number. Talk about your work ethic. Talk about the nights you stayed late building Sitting Valuable. Talk about how you cut expenses to save more. Talk about the discipline it took to avoid wasting money. These lessons inspire because they teach people what they can do. Your income, on the other hand, only tells them what you get, not how you got it. Another reason to stay quiet is safety. In this world, when too many people know your exact income, you open yourself to unnecessary risk. Some may approach you only because of what you can give. Some may try to use your success for their advantage. Even family members may begin to pressure you into commitments that damage your progress. When you close that door by keeping your income private, you live with more control. You are free to make financial choices without the noise of outside voices. Think about the long-term cost of exposing your income. Friendships that once felt natural turn complicated. Family gatherings become uncomfortable. You carry the burden of feeling judged every time you spend or don't spend. If you buy something new, they say, "Of course you make good money." If you don't spend, they say, "What's the point of all that money?" Either way, you lose. You lose the freedom. Live quietly. Silence on this matter is not about shame. It is about strategy. It is about understanding human psychology. People compare, people measure. You cannot stop them from doing it, but you can stop feeding them the fuel that creates it. Protect yourself. Protect your peace. Protect your connections. You will notice that the people who shout their income often are the same ones struggling to keep real friendships. They fill the room with their numbers, but leave empty when it comes to loyalty and trust. On the other hand, the people who stay private about their income often enjoy deeper connections. Their relationships are based on who they are, not on what they earn. They walk into a room as equals, not as a target or a provider. That equality gives them freedom. So practice this today. The next time someone asks, "How much do you make?" answer with confidence but without numbers. You can say, "I'm doing fine. Thank you." You can say, "I'm working hard," and it's sign off. That is enough. You don't have to explain further. Notice how the conversation moves on when you keep your answer short and respectful. Notice how you keep your privacy intact without offending anyone. That is strength. That is discipline. That is as you protect your life from unnecessary tension. Remember, your income is not your identity. Your value as a human being is not written in numbers. It is written in your choices, your habits, your character, your kindness, your consistency. If people admire you, let it be for those reasons. Let it be because you stood strong when life was difficult, because you built discipline when excuses are easier, because you kept moving when others gave up. Those qualities cannot be measured in dollars. They are far greater. So choose silence when it comes to your income. Choose to protect yourself from envy that damages friendships. Choose to build respect through your actions, not your paychecks. Choose to live a life where people value you for your humanity, not for your number. That choice will give you more peace, more genuine connections, and more freedom in any number you could ever say out loud. And every time you feel the temptation to share, remind yourself, real respect is built on character, not income. The number may impress people for a moment, but character earns loyalty for a lifetime. Number 2, never share your private doubts, because weakness invites disrespect. When you speak about your doubts too openly, you give away power you may not get back. People listen to what you say, but more importantly, they interpret what it means about you. If you express doubt about yourself, your abilities, or your direction, many will not see it as honesty. They will see it as weakness. And once they see you as weak, their respect for you begins to shrink. Respect is fragile. It is hard to earn and easy to lose. That is why you must guard your private doubts and choose carefully where, when, and with whom you share them. Every one of us feels doubt. It is part of being human. We question ourselves before big steps. We wonder if we have what it takes. We worry if we will fail. Those thoughts are normal, but not everyone around you is prepared to handle them. Some people will use your doubts to feel superior. They will measure certs against you and tell themselves you are not as strong as they thought. Some will carry your words into gossip and whisper to others that you don't have confidence. Some will simply stop trusting you as much because they no longer see you as steady. This shift can damage opportunities, relationships, and influence. In life, perception matters. People form opinions about you, not only by what you do, but by what you say about yourself. When you say, "I'm not sure I can handle this," many won't hear it as a temporary thought. They will treat it as a permanent truth. They will assume you lack discipline, skill, or courage. The impression sticks even if you overcome that doubt later. So the question is not whether you should feel doubt, because you will, but whether you should hand it out freely for others to label you with. The answer is no. Holding back your doubts is not pretend. It is protecting your credibility. If you walk into a room with uncertainty showing on your face and trembling in your voice, people will not rally around you. They will question your leadership. They will question your reliability. But if you hold that same doubt inside and choose to project calm and confidence while you work through it, you give people a reason to trust you. Their trust becomes fuel. It pushes you to rise above the very doubts you are carrying. There is also another side to this. Not all people want the best for you. Some people are waiting for a chance to see you fall. If you tell them your private doubts, you give them the very ammunition they need. They will repeat your words at the right time to discredit you. They will remind others of your uncertainty to lower your value. They will smile in front of you, but quietly build stories of your weakness behind your back. And when opportunities are given out, those stories will speak louder than your intention. Protect yourself from this by keeping your doubts private. Instead of handing your doubts to others, work on them in silence. Write them down in a journal. Study them. Challenge them. Ask yourself if they are facts or fears. Replace them with evidence of your progress. Seek solutions, not sympathy. That is how you grow stronger, without letting the world see you as fragile. If you need help, choose carefully. Share your doubts only with mentors or trusted friends who want to lift you, not judge you. The difference between wise counsel and casual talk is enormous. Wise counsel builds you up. Casual tears you down. Consider the workplace. Imagine a colleague who is constantly voicing doubt about whether they can handle tasks. At first, people may comfort them, but over time, those words shape their reputation. They are seen as unreliable, insecure, or incapable. Leaders pass them over for promotions. Teammates stop trusting them with responsibility. It all begins with words of doubt spoken too freely. Now imagine another colleague who has doubts like everyone else but works quietly to overcome them. That person projects steadiness, gets opportunities, and grows. The difference is not the absence of doubt, but the discipline to manage it privately. Your self-image depends on the story you tell yourself, but your public image depends on the story you show others. If you broadcast doubt, you train others to see you as less than you really are. If you broadcast determination, you train them to see you as someone who will always find a way, even when you are uncertain inside. Discipline in how you present yourself earns respect, and respect builds opportunities. Human psychology is simple on this point. People want to follow strength. They want to be around those who believe in themselves. They feel safer, more inspired, and more confident when they are led by someone steady. If you show your private doubts at the wrong moment, you remove that sense of safety. You make others doubt not only you, but also themselves for being connected to you. This is why leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals must be careful with their words. One careless confession of doubt can 2 years of earned credibility. You might say, but isn't it good to be open? Openness has value, but it must be measured. True openness is not dumping every private thought into the world. True openness is being honest about challenges while still showing direction and confidence. You can acknowledge difficulty without surrendering to it. For example, instead of saying, "I doubt myself," you can say, "This is a challenge, but I am finding solutions." That communicates honesty without weakness. It implies trust rather than removing it. There is also a personal cost to sharing doubts. Each time you speak your doubts, you reinforce them in your mind. Words are powerful. If you tell yourself and others you cannot, your brain begins to believe it. If you repeat your fears aloud, you give them life. Soon, they shape your actions. But if you keep your doubts private and instead speak determination, you feed your confidence. Over time, your mind aligns with your word. You become stronger because you practice strength in your speech. The truth is that doubt grows in the dark, but it also dies in the dark if you starve it of attention. The less you speak of it, the less it controls you. The more you feed it with words, the larger it becomes. By keeping it private, you keep it manageable. By voicing it too often, you give it authority. You must decide whether to tow weakness or feed strength. And your words are the fuel. Think about relationships. A partner who constantly shares their private doubts about themselves eventually becomes draining. Instead of being a source of support and security, they become a weight. Over time, attraction and respect weaken. On the other hand, a partner who faces their doubts privately and shares their progress instead of their fears creates inspiration and trust. People want to be with those who rise above doubt, not those who drown in it. Protecting your private doubts also helps you in moments of opportunity. When you are offered a chance, the last thing you want is for people to remember that you once confessed, "I didn't believe I could do it." They will question why you deserve the chance. But if you kept that doubt private and pushed forward, they will see only your action and your progress. Opportunities go those who project readiness, not those who confess fragility. Remember, confidence is not about never feeling doubt. It is about choosing not to expose it where it can harm you. Confidence is built in private through discipline, practice, and action. When you project that confidence, people respond with respect and this. When you expose weakness, they respond with distance and doubt. So, from this moment, discipline yourself. When doubt rises inside you, hold it. Do not give it away in casual talk. Do not confess it to those who cannot help. Work on it quietly. Replace it with learning, effort, and progress. Share only your growth, not your hesitation. Show the world your strength, and keep your battles private. Your life will change when you understand this. You will notice people treating you with more respect. You will notice opportunities coming more easily. You will notice wrenches becoming deeper because you project stability. You will still face doubts, but they will no longer define how others see you. You will control the story. You will protect your image, and you will move forward with strength that inspires others instead of weakening their trust. This discipline separates those who rise in life from those who remain stuck. Everyone feels doubt, but not everyone manages it wisely. Those who guard their doubts and project confidence move into leadership, influence, and success. Those who voice their doubts freely remain trapped in a cycle of lost respect and limited opportunities. The choice is clear. Protect your private doubts. Build your confidence quietly. Show the world only your strength. That is how you live with dignity, power, and respect. That is how you grow beyond your fears. That is how you build a life others want to follow and admire. And that is how you make sure your private doubts never become public chains pushing you. Number 3. Keep your family arguments hidden, because outsiders never forget them. When disagreements happen inside your family, they are natural. Every household experiences tension, arguments, and misunderstandings. People who live closely together will eventually clash. But when those arguments are carried outside of the home, something dangerous begins to happen. Outsiders do not forget what they hear. They remember every detail, every word, every moment you told them your family's issues. Long after you and your loved ones have forgiven each other and moved on, those outsiders keep the memory alive. They hold on to it, and sometimes they spread it. That is why keeping your family arguments hidden is a sign of wisdom and strength. Think about what happens after a fight in the family. Tempers rise, words are exchanged, emotions run high. But with time, families heal. Apologies are made, and life continues. The bond of blood has a way of softening the hardest words, but the person you shared it with, whether it's a neighbor, a coworker, or a friend, doesn't have that same bond. They don't carry the same love that makes forgiveness easier. To them, the story you tell is permanent. They will always see your family in that negative light, no matter how much growth and healing has happened since. When you expose family arguments, you also invite judgment. People on the outside take sides. They decide who was right and who was wrong, even though they don't live in your home and don't understand the full picture. Judgment is rarely fair. Outsiders build their version of the truth from the small pieces you gave them. And once their minds are made up, it's nearly impossible to change them. You and your family may have moved forward, but in their eyes, the conflict defines you. Protecting family arguments is also about protecting respect. When you talk badly about your spouse, your siblings, or your parents to others, you lower the respect they have for your family unit. Once respect is lost, it is difficult to rebuild, even if your family members later prove themselves. The people who heard those private stories will never see them the same way. You might repair your relationships at home, but the reputation outside remains damaged. Privacy is power. The strength of a family lies in its ability to solve its problems internally. When you keep arguments within the family, you give yourselves room to process, to make mistakes, and to recover without the burden of public opinion. It's not about pretending your family is perfect. It's about protecting the sacredness of your bonds. The fewer people who know about your conflicts, the safer those bonds become. Now consider the workplace. If you regularly share family disputes with coworkers, they may start to view you as unstable or distracted. They might question your focus. Some may even take advantage of that information, using your struggles to diminish your credibility. What you think of as venting can turn into ammunition in someone else's hand. By keeping family arguments private, you protect your professional image and keep your personal life from weakening your opportunities. Friendships can also suffer when you overexpose your family's conflicts. Friends may begin to treat your loved ones differently. They might avoid them, look down on them, or make comments that create distance. Suddenly, gatherings that should feel warm and supportive feel awkward and divided. And all of it began with your decision to share something that should have stayed private. By holding your words, you prevent your friends from carrying burdens that don't belong to them. Another consequence of revealing arguments is gossip. Once a personal conflict leaves your home, it can travel in directions you never intended. One person tells another, and soon people you've never met know about the fight you had with your spouse, or the harsh words exchanged with a sibling. Gossip spreads faster than apologies, and it always leaves a mark. Long after the problem is resolved, you may still feel the sting of whispers following you. The solution is discipline. When emotions run high, it is then to seek sympathy from people outside the family. You want someone to take your side. You want validation. But validation from outsiders comes with a cost. It weakens the privacy of your family, and it invites outsiders into a space they do not belong. Instead of running to others, pause, calm down, have the difficult conversations inside your home. Work through the discomfort. That is how families grow stronger. When you protect your family arguments, you also protect your own image. Outsiders will not respect you more for airing your family's struggles. In fact, they will quietly lose respect. They will question your loyalty. They will wonder why you betray the people closest to you. And if you speak badly about your own family, they will assume you are capable of doing the same to them. Your words reveal more about your character than you realize. Keeping conflicts private shows maturity, loyalty, and strength. Of course, there are exceptions. In cases of abuse or harm, it is necessary to seek help beyond the family. But those situations are not everyday arguments, everyday disagreements about money, decisions, responsibilities, or words spoken in anger do not need an audience. They need patience, time, and love. They need the chance to heal without interference. Respect in society begins with respect at home. If you cannot protect your own family's dignity, how can others trust you with theirs? People observe, they note. When they that you never speak negatively about your loved ones in public, they learn to trust you more deeply. They know you understand loyalty. They know you are someone who values relationships enough to guard them. That reputation creates strength in every area of your life. There is also a deeper truth. Families are a reflection of who we are. When you expose their weaknesses, you expose your own. If you constantly tell the world about your family's fights, people begin to connect those fights with your character. They may see you as unstable, dramatic, or untrustworthy. Protecting your family's privacy is, in many ways, protecting your own name. Remember how memory works. Outsiders remember negative stories much longer than positive ones. You might tell them about your child's achievements or your spouse's support, and they will smile for a moment. But tell them about a fight at home, and they will hold on to it. That negative story will resurface in their minds every time they see your family. That is why discretion is not weakness. It is wisdom. Every family has its problems, but not every problem deserves an audience. Discipline your tongue. When you feel the urge to speak out of anger or frustration, stop. Remind yourself that what is said cannot be unsaid. Ask yourself if sharing this conflict will build or break. Almost always, it will break. And once broken, trust is slow to heal. Your family will thank you even if they never say it. When they realize you kept arguments private, they will feel safer with you. They will know you protect their dignity even when emotions run high. That safety strengthens bonds. It heads an environment where people can argue, disagree, and still love each other without fear of public exposure. At the end of the day, your family is the foundation of your life. Protect that foundation. Arguments may come, but they should also go. Do not let them live forever in the memory of outsiders who don't carry your love and don't understand your struggles. Hold them within the walls of your home. Solve them with respect and move forward together. Privacy builds trust. Trust builds strength. Strength builds lasting families, and lasting families build lasting lives. Keep your family arguments hidden, not because they don't exist, but because outsiders never forget what they were never meant to know. Number 4, guard your relationship details, because outsiders use them against you. When two people share a relationship, what holds it together is not just love, but also trust, respect, and privacy. The strength of that bond depends on how carefully both protect it from outside interference. Every detail you share about your private life with others becomes a tool they can use against you. Outsiders often do not have the same loyalty, and they rarely carry the same care that you and your partner share. What you think is casual conversation may later turn into gossip, judgment, or even manipulation. That is why guarding your relationship details is one of the most important disciplines you can practice if you want your bond to remain strong and respected. Many people overshare because they believe talking about their relationship makes them relatable. They think opening up about fights, frustrations, or private choices is harmless. But once those words leave your mouth, you lose control of them. The listener shapes their own story, and sometimes they pass it on. Before long, what was once a private detail between you and your partner is now a topic in someone else's conversation. And those conversations rarely paint the full truth. They highlight flaws, exaggerate mistakes, and distort the reality of your relationship. You need to understand human behavior. Not everyone wants your relationship to succeed. Some people secretly enjoy hearing that others are struggling. Some feel better about themselves when they see cracks in someone else's happiness. Others may use your openness to interfere, to create distance between you and your partner, or to test the limits of your loyalty. What you shared in trust becomes ammunition in their hand. Even people you thought were close can fall into this pattern. Not out of malice, but out of carelessness. But the result is the same. Your relationship suffers because you allowed outsiders access to what should have remained private. Respect in a relationship is built by what you say about your partner when they are not around. If you talk with honor and protect their dignity, outsiders will see your bond as strong and untouchable. If you speak poorly of them or reveal intimate details, outsiders will view your relationship as fragile and open to interference. That perception influences how people treat you and your partner. A strong relationship commands respect from others. A relationship exposed through gossip invites disrespect and intrusion. Guarding your relationship details also protects your partner's trust. When they confide in you, they expect those words to stay safe. If they discover that you've shared private moments or frustrations with others, in those you consider close friends, the sense of safety in your bond weakens. Trust once broken is difficult to rebuild. It leaves scars that take time to heal. When you keep those details private, you send a clear message. What we share stays between us. That loyalty strengthens the bond and makes your partner feel secure in ways nothing else can. Consider also the effect on your own image. When you overshare, you reveal not only your partner's flaws, but also your lack of discipline. People who constantly expose their private life are seen as careless and unreliable. If you talk freely about the person closest to you, others will assume you are capable of doing the same about them. They will hesitate to trust you with their own secrets. Your words about your relationship become a mirror of your character. Guard them carefully if you want to be respected. Think about what happens when you expose arguments or disagreement. After the fight ends and love returns, you and your partner may forgive each other. But the people you told will not forget. They will continue to view your partner through the lens of that story. The next time they meet your partner, they may look at them with judgment or pity. That silent fight changes the way your partner is treated, and it changes how comfortable they feel in those circles. You may have moved on, but your partner now carries the weight of being misunderstood by people who should never have been involved in the first place. There is also a deeper danger. Sometimes outsiders use the information you share to insert themselves into your relationship. They offer unsolicited advice, create doubts in your mind, or subtly encourage division. What you thought was harmless sharing can slowly shift the way you see your partner. Doubts planted by others can grow, and once doubt enters, it becomes difficult to restore the same level of closeness. Guarding your details keeps your relationship safe from these external influences. A healthy relationship is not measured by how much outsiders know, but by how much you protect it from them. The strongest bonds are built behind closed doors, where conversations, arguments, and reconciliations happen without an audience. Privacy gives space for growth. It allows mistakes to be baited and forgiveness to take root without outside interference. When you guard your relationship, you give it the chance to develop on its own foundation, rather than on the opinions of others. You also have to consider the long-term impact. The details you share today can resurface years later. People remember, and some keep records in their minds of what you revealed. Even when you and your partner are thriving, someone may remind you of a past conflict you once spoke about. That reminder can reopen old wounds or create embarrassment. If you had never shared it, the memory would belong only to you and your partner. By guarding your details, you protect your future peace from the consequences of past openness. Guarding does not mean isolation. It does not mean you can never seek advice or support, but it does mean you must choose wisely. Seek guidance only from mentors, counselors, or trusted individuals who have wisdom and no no-sell agenda. Do not hand your personal life to casual listeners. Not everyone deserves access to your private world. Most people cannot carry the weight of that information responsibly. A relationship thrives when both people feel safe with each other. That safety comes from knowing that what is shared in private remains protected. Then you choose silence in front of outsiders. You choose loyalty. When you choose loyalty, you build strength. And when you build strength, you create a bond that cannot easily be shaken. Discipline yourself today. The next time you feel the urge to share a private detail, pause. Ask yourself if it will strengthen your relationship or weaken it. Ask yourself if the listener truly deserves to know. Most of the time, the answer will be no. Keep your words. Protect your partner. Protect your bond. Protect yourself. A relationship is a sacred space between two people. It deserves the shield of privacy, the wall of respect, the discipline of silence. Outsiders cannot use against you what they never know. By guarding your relationship details, you give your love the protection it needs to grow stronger every day. And in that strength, you find peace, loyalty, and a connection that lasts. Number 5. Hide your insecurities. Because people secretly measure your value. Every person carries insecurities. They live quietly inside us, built from past failures, harsh criticism, comparisons, and moments when we felt we were not enough. Having insecurities is part of being human, but exposing them to the wrong people is dangerous. The moment you show your insecurities openly, others begin to measure you differently. They may not say it out loud, but deep inside, they start to evaluate your worth, your strength, and even your potential. That is why you must protect your insecurities. Not by pretending they don't exist, but by refusing to hand them to people who will secretly use them to judge you. People are always observing. They notice your tone, your posture, your expressions, and your words. When you show confidence, they assume you are capable, reliable, and valuable. When you expose insecurity, they assume you are weak, unstable, or less worthy of trust. The human mind works this way. It constantly categorizes people into levels of strength or weakness. You must decide which category you want to live in. If you want respect, you cannot give people a reason to lower the way they measure you. Some people believe that sharing insecurities makes them more relatable. They think opening up will invite sympathy and closeness. But sympathy is not the same as respect. People may listen, nod, and comfort you. But in their minds, they are also lowering their expectations of you. They begin to see you as someone who needs support, rather than someone who provides it. Over time, that image sticks, and opportunities slip away. Leaders, employers, and even friends choose to trust those who project strength, not those who constantly reveal their weaknesses. In professional life, this becomes very clear. If you openly admit every insecurity to your colleagues, they will begin to doubt your abilities. You might be perfectly capable, but the fact that you said, "I don't think I'm good enough," plants a seed in their minds. That seed grows into hesitation when decisions are made about promotions, projects, or responsibilities. They remember your confession, and it silently influences their choices. You may never even know it happened, but you will feel the consequence. Even in personal relationships, insecurities can become weapons in the hands of the wrong people. If you reveal too much about what makes you feel small, someone may use it against you in a moment of anger or conflict. They might throw your words back at you to hurt you. Others may not attack you directly, but they may start to treat you with less respect because they see you as fragile. Either way, exposing insecurities creates imbalance. The person who knows them has power, and the one who revealed them has less. Hiding your insecurities does not mean ignoring them. It means working on them privately, building yourself stronger so that they lose their hold on you. You can acknowledge them to yourself. You can write them down, and you can face them in personal reflection. But you do not owe the world access to your deepest doubts. Protecting them gives you control. When others cannot see your insecurities, they cannot measure you through them. They must measure you through your actions, your discipline, and your results. The truth is that most people secretly compare themselves to others. If you reveal an insecurity, they may feel better about themselves in comparison, but that feeling often leads to silent judgment rather than support. People admire strength because it sets a standard. They follow those who rise above insecurity, not those who display it openly. If you want influence, you must carry yourself in a way that projects belief in your own value, even while you are still working to build it inside. There is also the danger of reputation. Once you reveal an insecurity, it often spreads. You may share it with one person in confidence, but they might share it with someone else. Soon, more people know your weakness than you intended. And every time they see you, they connect you to that insecurity. It becomes part of your identity in their minds. Reputations are hard to change once they are formed. That is why silence is often the safest strategy. Guarding your insecurities also trains your own mind. When you refuse to speak them aloud to others, you weaken their power over you. Speaking them out loud reinforces them. Each time you tell someone, "I'm not confident about this," you teach your own mind to believe it more. But when you discipline yourself to keep those words inside, and instead act with determination, you begin to reshape your self-image. Over time, your actions build confidence, and the insecurity fades without you ever needing to expose it. Some people confuse humility with exposing insecurities. They think being humble means confessing weakness. But real humility is not about lowering yourself. It is about recognizing your strengths without arrogance, and your weaknesses without audacing them. You can be humble and still protect your dignity. You can admit you have areas to improve without handing those details to people who will measure you harshly. Humility strengthens respect when paired with confidence, not when drowned in insecurity. Consider also the way people trust. Trust is built on consistency and strength. If you are always sharing your doubts and insecurities, people hesitate to trust you with responsibility. They fear you may not hold up under pressure. But if you project stability, even while quietly working through your insecurities, people trust you more. That trust opens doors, builds opportunities, and expands your influence. The difference lies not in whether you have insecurities. Everyone does, but in whether you expose them or protect them. This doesn't mean you should never speak insecurities. It means you must choose carefully. Share them only with trusted mentors, close partners, or professionals who can help you grow. Share them only in spaces where your words will be used to build you up, not tear you down. With the general public, with coworkers, with casual friends, discipline yourself to stay guarded. You are not hiding who you are. You are protecting your value from being unfairly measured. When you walk into a room, people decide quickly how much respect to give you. They decide based on your posture, your tone, your energy, and your worth. If you carry yourself with confidence, they place you higher in value. If you reveal insecurity too quickly, they place you lower. That measurement may not be fair, but it is real. Human psychology works that way. You must learn to play by those rules if you want to move forward in life. Protecting your insecurities is not lying. It is leadership. It is discipline. It is understanding that not every truth needs to be shared with everyone. The world is not entitled to every corner of your heart. You are responsible for managing your inner world so that you present your best self to the outer world. That best self inspires, earns respect, and attracts opportunities. So build a private place to deal with your insecurities. Reflect on them, work through them, use them as fuel for growth, but do not hand them over to people who are quietly measuring your worth. They will never see the whole picture, and they will often judge you unfairly. Protect your value by keeping your insecurities hidden while you work to turn them into strength. Life rewards those who project strength while quietly building it behind the scenes. People follow those who inspire confidence, not those who ask for pity. Hide your insecurities, not because you are ashamed, but because you understand how human psychology works. People measure value in ways they will never say out loud. By guarding what makes you vulnerable, you give yourself the power to be seen for your growth, your discipline, and your results, not for your fears. And that choice protects your dignity and your future. Number 6, protect your failures. Because gossipers turn them into stories. Failure is part of every life. No one escapes it, and no one should feel ashamed for experiencing it. It teaches lessons, sharpens discipline, and builds resilience. But while failure has value for you, it can be dangerous when it falls into the hands of gossipers. The moment you expose too much about your failures to people who don't deserve that information, you give them material they can twist, exaggerate, and spread. What was once a private step in your growth can quickly become a public story that follows you, and often the version told is far from the truth. That is why protecting your failures is as important as learning from them. People love to talk. They repeat what they hear, and they rarely pass it on in the same way it was told. If you confide about a failure, it rarely stays in one place. It travels. Someone adds their opinion, another person adds their interpretation, and soon your story no longer belongs to you. It becomes entertainment, gossip, or even a warning people use against you. You thought you were sharing a lesson, but what others repeat is an image of you as careless, incapable, or unlucky. Even after you've moved on and achieved success, the echo of that failure lingers in the minds of those who heard the story. This doesn't mean you should never talk about your failures, but it means you must choose carefully. When you are still healing from a setback, when the wound is fresh, when the lesson is not yet complete, keep it private. Sharing too early allows others to control the narrative before you've had the chance to grow from it. Protect it until you are strong enough to speak about it with clarity, purpose, and control. Until then, let it remain between you and the small circle of people you trust deeply. The truth about gossip is that it does not care about context. Gossipers don't want the full picture. They are not interested in your growth or your lessons. They want a story that sparks curiosity and judgment. They strip away the details that explain your journey and highlight only the parts that make you look weak. They turn your private failure into public amusement. Once that happens, you cannot take it back. That is why silence is strength. By protecting your failures, you remove the fuel gossipers need to talk about you. In professional life, this discipline matters even more. If you speak too openly about failed projects, missed targets, or poor decisions, you risk your reputation. Colleagues and employers may question your reliability. Even if you have learned and improved, some will never see beyond the failure you expose. They will recall it in future meetings, bring it up in subtle ways, and let it shape their judgment of you. The business world respects results, but it also respects those who know how to manage perception. Protecting your failures does not mean denying them. It means refusing to hand others the chance to use them against you. In personal life, the same principle applies. If you share failures with casual friends or neighbors, you invite their opinions into your life. They may pretend to sympathize, but many will retell the story later. Even family members, if they are not trustworthy, can spread your setbacks further than you ever imagined. One careless conversation can damage how people see you for years. By protecting your failures, you guard your dignity. You decide who has the right to know your struggles and who does not. There is also a psychological effect. Every time you retell your failures, you relive them. If you repeat them too often, they take root in your identity. Instead of moving forward, you keep yourself tied to the memory of what went wrong. But when you keep them private, you give yourself space to heal and rise, without constantly reminding yourself of the past. You girt your energy toward growth, not toward retelling the same painful story. Another danger of exposing failures is how they can be used as weapons. In moments of conflict, people who know your weaknesses or mistakes may bring them up to hurt you. They might say, "Didn't you fail at that?" Or "Remember when you couldn't handle this?" Those words can sting deeply, especially when spoken in front of others. By protecting your failures, you prevent anyone from having that weapon in the first place. They cannot use against you what they do not know. Protecting your failures also allows you to control your own narrative. When the time is right, you can share your story in your own way. You can highlight the lessons, the growth, and the strength you gained. You can inspire others with your journey, rather than allowing gossipers to define it. Speaking about failures from a place of strength transforms them into tools of motivation. Speaking about them from a place of vulnerability only exposes you to judgment. The difference is timing and control. Some people will argue that being open about failures shows authenticity. There is truth in that, but authenticity is not the same as exposure. Authenticity means being real while also being wise. It means knowing which truths to share and when. Being authentic does not require giving everyone access to your scars. It requires living with integrity while protecting your dignity. Protecting your failures is not hiding. It is guarding the space you need to rebuild before you are ready to reveal. Consider this: history remembers failures differently depending on who tells the story. When you hear about great leaders, you don't usually hear the gossip of their setback. You hear the lessons they chose to share once they succeeded. They didn't give their failures to gossips. They turned them into stories of resilience. You must do the same. Take your time. Work in silence. Allow your actions to speak louder than your mistake. Then, when you decide to share, the story belongs to you, to anyone else. Life will give you failures, but what matters is how you manage them. If you protect them, They remain stepping stones on your private path to grow. If you expose them carelessly, they become obstacles placed in front of you by the voices of others. Gossip thrives on weakness, but it starves when you give it nothing to feed on. Protect your failures until they are no longer wounds, but lessons carved into your strength. And remember, people measure you not only by your success, but also by how you handle setbacks. If they see you rise without complaining, if they see you move forward without turning every mistake into a story for the public, they respect you more. Quiet strength earns loyalty. Silent resilience builds influence. Protecting your failures is not just about avoiding gossip. It is about dueling a reputation of stability and dignity that follows you wherever you go. Failures will always be part of your journey, but they do not define you unless you let others control the story. Hold them close, learn from them, grow beyond them, share them only when they can inspire, never when they can weaken. That discipline keeps you ahead of gossip, ahead of judgment, and ahead of the noise that tries to hold you back. In the end, your failures are your teachers, not your public label. Protect them and they will guide you to strength, rather than trap you in the stories others create. Number 7, stop exposing your future moves, because jealousy blocks support. When you talk too much about what you plan to do before you actually do it, you weaken your own progress. Every time you reveal your future moves, you invite opinions, comparisons, and sometimes even jealousy. People may smile at you when you share, but not everyone is happy to see you aiming higher. Many will secretly measure your ambition against their own and feel threatened. Instead of supporting you, they pull back. Instead of encouraging you, they quietly hope you fail so they can feel better about themselves. That is why silence about your future steps is not secrecy. It is protection. Human psychology makes this clear. When you share your upcoming goals, others begin to form judgments. They ask themselves, who does he think he is? Or why is she trying that? Those questions often come from insecurity, not from care. People fear being left behind. Your ambition reminds them of what they are not doing. Rather than supporting your growth, they withdraw their encouragement because your moves expose their lack of action. What you thought would bring you cheerleaders often brings you critics disguised as friends. There is also the danger of pressure. Yet, the more people you tell about your plans, the more voices you give the right to comment. Suddenly everyone has an opinion. Some tell you it's too risky. Others tell you it's unrealistic. A few may even laugh at the idea. Each voice adds weight, and that weight slows you down. You begin to second-guess yourself, not because the goal isn't possible, but because you allowed too many people to speak into it. Silence removes that weight. When you keep your moves private, you move faster, lighter, and freer. Jealousy is a quiet enemy. It rarely announces itself openly. It lives in small comments, in half-hearted support, in fake smiles. When you speak about your future, you awaken it in people who may not even know they carry it. And once jealousy is alive, support dies. A person who envies you will not genuinely back you. They may pretend, but deep down, they are waiting for your stumble. By keeping your moves private, you avoid triggering that hidden jealousy in the first place. You give yourself the chance to work without invisible resistance. Another reason to stop exposing your plans is energy. Talking about what you will do often gives you a false sense of accomplishment. You feel as if you've already taken a step just by speaking it. But words without action are empty. Too much talking drains the drive you need to actually build. The discipline of silence keeps your energy directed toward execution rather than conversation. It forces you to let your results speak instead of your promises. And when results speak, they silence critics in ways words never could. Consider how people treat those who talk often, but rarely deliver. At first, they may listen with interest, but after a while, they stop taking those words seriously. The person becomes known for big talk and little action. Respect fades, and opportunities slip away. Now compare that with the person who rarely talks, but always delivers. When they finally reveal what they've done, people listen with attention and respect. Silence preserves credibility. Noise destroys it. In your personal relationships, the same principle applies. If you constantly reveal every plan to family, friends, or acquaintances, you may unintentionally create distance. Some may feel uncomfortable because your plans highlight your lack of progress. Others may discourage you because they don't want to lose the version of you they are comfortable with. Change threatens people who fear being left behind. By keeping your future moves private, you protect your secrets from unnecessary strain while still moving forward. Workplaces and businesses are even more sensitive to this rule. If you expose your plans too early, competitors gain insight, colleagues may try to outpace you, supervisors may question your loyalty. What you thought was ambition can be misinterpreted as arrogance. Silence in these environments protects your professional path. When you finally reveal your progress, it is already too late for anyone to block it. There is also the issue of timing. Success requires not only effort, but also the right moment. If you reveal your move too soon, you risk ruining that timing. People may interfere, obstacles may appear, or someone else may take advantage of the idea before you have the chance to act. Silence gives you control of the moment. You choose when the world knows, and by then, you have already taken enough steps to secure your position. Another important point is reputation. People remember promises more than progress. If you talk about a plan and it does not happen, they label you as unreliable. Even if you quietly move on to something better, they hold on to that broken promise. Over time, too much exposure of future moves creates a reputation for not following through. Silence protects your credibility. When you finally reveal something, it's because it's real, not because it's still a dream. Protecting your future moves also protects your mental focus. Every time you talk about your plans, you allow outside opinions to enter your mind. Those opinions compete with your own vision. They create confusion where clarity should be. But when you keep your moves private, you hear only your own voice. Your focus sharpens, your discipline strengthens, and your confidence grows. That mental clarity becomes one of your greatest advantages. Silence is not isolation. It is strategy. It does not mean you can never discuss your goals. It means you choose wisely. Share only with mentors who can guide you, with partners who are invested in your success, or with people who have proven loyalty. Everyone else should see only the results, never the blueprint. This way, your moves are protected from jealousy, judgment, and interference. You must also remember that the world values proof, not promises. Talking about what you will do does not earn you respect. Showing what to have done does. People admire results. They admire discipline. They admire those who work quietly and emerge with achievements that speak for themselves. The less you expose, the more powerful your impact becomes. If you want to build a life of influence, discipline yourself today. The next time you feel tempted to share your plans, ask yourself, will sharing this bring me closer to the goal or further away? Most of the time, the answer is further away. Choose silence. Put your head down and do the work. Reveal it only when it is real, when it is strong enough to stand on its own, when no one can block it anymore. In the end, the people around you will measure you, not by what you said you would do, but by what you actually accomplished. Protect your future moves because jealousy is real, and support disappears when envy is alive. The fewer people who know your plans, the more control you keep. And the more control you keep, the greater your chance of turning vision into reality. When you guard your steps, you walk stronger. When you move in silence, you arrive prepared. And when you finally reveal your progress, it speaks louder than any word you never said. Number 9. Avoid sharing private habits, because judgment spreads faster than truth. Habits are the routines and behaviors that shape the course of your life. They are often private, small actions repeated daily that slowly build your character, discipline, and results. But the moment you start exposing your personal habits to others, you invite judgment that spreads far faster than any truth you could explain. People rarely take the time to understand the meaning or intention behind your habit. They hear one piece of information, form their own conclusion, and pass it along to others. What you share as part of your personal discipline or lifestyle quickly becomes a distorted story in someone else's mouth. That is why you must protect your private habits and keep them away from unnecessary conversation. When you speak openly about your routines, whether it's how you spend your mornings, how you eat, how you manage your finances, or how you structure your day, others immediately compare them to their own lives. Human nature is to measure and judge. If your habits are stricter than theirs, they might mock you. If your habits are different, they may misunderstand you. If your habits are better, they may envy you. In every case, the result is judgment, not appreciation. Instead of admiring your discipline, they frame you as extreme, strange, or even arrogant. The truth of why you built those habits is lost in the noise of their assumptions. Judgment travels faster than explanation, because people repeat what is easy, not what is accurate. If someone hears you wake up earlier than most, they won't say, "He values discipline." They will say, "He's obsessed." If someone hears you avoid certain foods for health, they won't say, "She is mindful." They will say, "She's difficult." These versions of your truth spread quickly, and they reach people who will never ask for clarification. By the time you even notice the gossip, your habits have already been reshaped into stories you never told. Protecting them from exposure avoids this cycle entirely. You must also understand how fragile reputation is. What people think about you influences how they treat you. If your private habits are shared in the wrong context, they can create a reputation that does not match your true self. One exaggerated story can undo years of steady progress. For example, if you have financial habits like saving aggressively, someone may call you cheap instead of disciplined. That label, repeated often enough, begins to stick. People may respect your results less because they believe the distorted story more. This shows why privacy is not just about silence, but about control. You control your image by controlling what people know. Even in close circles, oversharing habits can create problems. Friends may not understand why you avoid certain activities because of your personal pins. Family members may ridicule you for the routines you've built for growth. At first, it may seem harmless, but repeated criticism chips away at respect. They stop viewing your habits as personal choices and start treating them as flawed. What is meaningful to you becomes a point of conflict with them. By keeping those habits private, you avoid unnecessary tension and protect the peace of your relationships. In the workplace, sharing private habits can also be dangerous. If you talk too much about how you handle your day or how you approach work-life balance, colleagues may use it against you. A manager might see your strict boundaries as lack commitment. A peer may see your discipline as arrogant. Professional environments thrive on perception. And once people form an opinion about your personal life, it influences how they treat you. Protecting your habits from exposure ensures that your professional reputation remains strong and based on performance, not personal routine. Another reason to stay private about your habits is that people often resist what challenges their comfort. If your habits highlight discipline that others lack, they may try to bring you down to their level. They will say things like, "You're too strict," or "You're overthinking life." In reality, their riches is not about your choices. It is about their own guilt for not living with the same discipline. Sharing your habits gives them an opportunity to disguise envy as advice. By staying quiet, you avoid triggering their insecurities and keep your focus on your own growth. There is also the problem of misinterpretation. Habits often look simple on the surface, but carry deep meaning for the individual practicing them. Outsiders don't see the full context. They don't know the personal reasons, the sacrifices, or the experiences that shaped those routines. Without context, they misinterpret. What is healing for you may look obsessive to them. What is discipline for you may look unnecessary to them. That misinterpretation, once spoken aloud, becomes the version others believe. And because judgment spreads faster than truth, you will never have enough time or energy to correct every false story. Silence is the better option. Privacy gives you freedom. When you protect your habits, you are free to change them, dust them, and grow without worrying about outside commentary. If you announce them publicly, you trap yourself in the expectations and judgments of others. People begin to monitor you, waiting for you to fail so they can comment. Every change you make becomes material for discussion. But when your habits remain private, they belong fully to you. You can improve them quietly, and only the results are visible to others. And results speak louder than habits ever could. Some people think that talking about their habits inspires others. While that can be true in certain situations, Inspiration is stronger when it comes from results rather than routines. People respect outcomes. They respect achievement. They rarely respect the small private steps it took to get there. If you want to inspire, let your success show. Once you are established, you may choose to share habits as lessons, but until then, keep them private. Do not invite unnecessary judgment that can weaken your progress before you even achieve your goal. It is also important to remember that the more you expose, the less mystery you hold. Mystery is not about hiding. It is about keeping control of what people know. People are naturally more drawn to those who don't reveal everything. They respect those who carry themselves with quiet confidence and discipline. When you share too much about your personal life, you reduce that aura of strength. You make yourself too easy to define, too easy to judge, too easy to criticize. Guarding your habits keeps people guessing, and that mystery adds to your influence. Your habits are sacred because they are the foundation of your life. They are not for public debate or outside evaluation. Protect them like you would your future, because in many ways, they are your future. Each habit, repeated daily, becomes the structure of your identity. If you allow others to damage that structure with gossip and judgment, you weaken the foundation of your growth. By keeping them private, you build in silence, and the world eventually sees the results without ever knowing the process. So discipline yourself today. Resist the temptation to nail your routines to people who won't understand. Refuse to give outsiders the chance to twist your truth into gossip. Protect your private habits with the same care you protect your dignity, because judgment always travels faster than nothing. And once it spreads, it cannot be contained. When you choose privacy, you choose strength. When you choose silence, you choose freedom. And when you finally reveal yourself, let it be through the undeniable evidence. Evidence your success, not through careless words about the habits that built. Number 10. Protect your deep beliefs, because critics aim to break you. Your beliefs are the foundation of how you live, how you decide, and how you face the world. They are deeply personal, shaped by your experiences, your values, and your sense of what is right. Because they run so deep, they influence the way you act in every area of your life. But there is a reality you cannot ignore. When you share your deepest beliefs with everyone, you expose yourself to critics who are not interested in understanding you. They are interested in challenging you, breaking you down, and proving you wrong. For that reason, protecting your deepest beliefs is an act of strength and wisdom. The world is full of people who want to debate, argue, and discredit what others stand for. They thrive on conflict, not understanding. When you reveal the principles that mean the most to you, they see it as an opportunity. They push against it, not because they want to grow, but because they want to feel powerful by tearing someone else apart. And once they find your belief, they poke at it again and again, until they weaken your confidence or turn others against you. Protecting your beliefs keeps those critics from ever gaining that kind of access to your foundation. Another truth is that people rarely forget when you reveal what you stand for. If someone disagrees with you strongly enough, they will hold on to that disagreement forever. It doesn't matter if you've proven yourself in other areas of life. They will always attach your name to the belief they opposed. And the harsh reality is that disagreement in today's world often turns into hostility. Instead of respecting differences, critics label, insult, and divide. If you want to live with peace, you must choose carefully what to reveal and what to keep sacred. Deep beliefs are not small preferences. They are the values you live by. Your view of family, discipline, responsibility, faith, or purpose. When these are attacked, it hurts more than casual criticism because it touches your identity. If you expose them to the wrong people, you hand over the most sensitive part of yourself to those who do not care about protecting it. Some will deliberately use it against you in conversation. Others will spread it around, framing you in a way that benefits their agenda. Once it leaves your lips, you cannot take it back, and you cannot control how it is used. Privacy here is not weakness. It is maturity. It is knowing that your beliefs guide your life. And they don't need validation from strangers. You don't need to tell your values to everyone. The only proof you need is in how you live. Living out your beliefs with consistency is far stronger than arguing about them. When you protect them, you let your actions show what you stand for, and actions speak with a clarity that no critic can silence. There is also the issue of energy. Debating your deepest beliefs with critics is draining. It takes time, it consumes emotion, and it rarely leads anywhere. People who set out to break your beliefs are not open to growth. They are fixed on winning the argument. Engaging with them leaves you exhausted and sometimes even doubting yourself. Protecting your beliefs from exposure keeps your energy where it belongs, on living, building, and improving. Instead of wasting hours in arguments that change nothing, you spend those hours strengthening your life. Your beliefs also deserve dispersed, and respect begins with how you treat them yourself. If you share them casually with anyone who asks, you are not treating them with the dignity they deserve. They are not just words for conversation. They are the pillars of your life. Protecting them shows that you value them enough to keep them safe from careless talk. When you keep something private, you raise its worth. You make it clear that not everyone has the right to access it. That boundary creates strength inside you and demands respect from others. Some people share their deepest beliefs, hoping to inspire. But inspiration does not come from exposing yourself to critics. It comes from living so clearly that others see the results of your values without you needing to explain. For example, if you believe in discipline, people will notice it in your actions, your punctuality, your work ethic, your consistency. If you believe in kindness, people will notice it in how you treat others. You don't need to hand over words for critics to attack. You let your results do the talking. Another danger in revealing too much is that critics often twist beliefs into labels. They reduce you to one word, one position, or one side, ignoring the complexity of your life. Once labeled, you become trapped in their narrative. Even people who don't know you personally will judge you based on the label given to your beliefs. It becomes harder for them to see your humanity beyond that single category. Protecting your beliefs prevents this oversimplification. It keeps your identity whole, rather than letting others cut it down to stereotypes. Protecting your beliefs also protects your relationships. Disagreements over deep values can create distance between people, even when the relationship was once strong. If you reveal too much to the wrong person, you risk losing a bond that might have been valuable in other ways. Privacy allows you to maintain connections without inviting unnecessary conflict. It keeps relationships intact while still letting you live by your principles. Not everyone has to know your beliefs for you to practice them fully. There is wisdom in choosing when and with whom to share. Some people earn the right to hear your beliefs because they have shown loyalty, respect, and maturity. With them, sharing creates deeper connection. But with casual acquaintances, colleagues, or people whose intentions you do not trust, silence protects you. Not every ear deserves to hear your truth, and not every heart is capable of respecting it. You must also remember that growth is ongoing. Your beliefs today may evolve as you gain new experiences. If you expose them too strongly and too early, critics will use any change against you. They will call you inconsistent or accuse you of weakness. But when you protect your beliefs and live them quietly, you give yourself room to grow without outside interference. You own your evolution instead of letting critics use it to discredit you. The world is filled with noise, judgment, and criticism. If you hand over your deepest beliefs to it, you risk having your identity crushed under that noise. But if you protect them, you live with freedom. You follow your values without needing approval. You rise above arguments and distraction. You walk through life steady, not shaken by every critic who wants to break you. And in the end, people will not respect you because you shouted your beliefs. They will respect you because you lived them consistently, quietly, and powerfully. Your deepest beliefs are your anchor. They do not need defending in every conversation. They need protecting so that you can continue to build a life guided by them, without interference. Protect them because critics will always exist. Protect them because gossip will always spread. Protect them because what you stand for deserves dignity. And when you protect them, you gain the strength to live in alignment with your values, while standing tall against a world that is too quick to judge. If you want to build a life of respect, peace, and strength, you must start protecting what you share. The world doesn't need to know everything about you. In fact, the less they know, the more power you keep. Guard your income, your doubts, your family issues, your relationship details, your insecurities, because once they're out, they can be used against you. Remember this: privacy is not weakness, it's wisdom. The strongest people are not the ones who shout their lives to the world, but the ones who choose carefully what to reveal and what to protect. Now ask yourself, are you giving away too much of your life? Starting today, draw the line, protect what matters, and watch how your respect, your peace, and your confidence grow. If this message gave you clarity, make sure you come back, because the next videos will take you even deeper into building discipline, strength, and real success.